Hi, welcome to the weekly Panther Presser with Virginia Union University head football coach Dr. Alvin Parker. Coach, another big win this past Saturday against Elizabeth City State. You're still undefeated in the CIAA. Tell us about your thoughts on the game.
Well, I told everybody else leading up to that game, Elizabeth City was a good football team. So, and it's going to be like that week in and week out in the CIAA where you're going to have competitive games where, you got to bring your A game, be ready to kind of play. So, I was happy we kind of came out of that game with, a victory, a road victory, in a three-week span all in North Carolina, where we kind of did this thing. And now we get a chance to come back home, so we're excited about that and, looking forward to the rest of the season.
Now you had 3 players of the week. Curtis Allen, of course, whom they seem to give it to every week. At this third straight week, he won offensive back. Then we have Matthias Nielsen making the offensive lineman of the week. And, of course, Brady Myers, Mr. Automatic in extra points for being special teams player of the week. Tell us a little bit about those players.
Yeah, but most of those guys are household names now. I think everybody kind of know the ability that those guys have. So anytime those guys get honored with any type of player of the week or any type of other accolade, it's kind of well deserved because those guys are all good players. We have a bunch of good players that can kind of get some stuff done. But I'm glad a lot of names are being mentioned. In terms of the guys who are performing at a high level. So you know what, good to those guys. So we kind of look forward to kind of some of the bigger prizes, and that's kind of just keep winning and kind of keep this thing, on a direction that we have it on right now.
We're going to open up the floor now for questions. Please identify yourself and your affiliation.
Coach, it's Chris Ferguson, D2 Football. Got a couple questions for you.
All right, what's up, Chris?
At some points in the game, it was like Elizabeth City was kind of going toe-to-toe with you guys. Was it something different that they were doing, or they were just executing and you guys weren't really stopping them at some points in the game?
I think, just more focused on what we were doing, so some of the things that we didn't do, necessarily wasn't fully executed, but not to take anything away from those guys. Those guys played a heck of a game. Those guys played a tough game, and it's going to be like that in the CIAA, like I said, week in and week out. So, not so much of, either side, a little bit of both, but hats off to those guys for playing as hard as they did, and, hats off to all guys for finishing the way they did.
Talk a little bit about Keon Davis. He had 5 receptions for 174 yards. Just, really big game. Saw a couple of long passes that he got from Rosales. Talk a little bit about him and his season so far.
Well, he's a good one for us. He's a sophomore, so he has big playability, and he can get it done, so I think people got a chance to see that on Saturday. But he always does something pretty good week in and week out to kind of show you that he's a special receiver, and he's done that, this entire season. So, I think he has 4 receiving touchdowns right now in the year. A few yards. He's kind of, up there in the nation-wise in yards per catch, so he's kind of getting it done, so we're excited about, kind of what the future has for him. He has an extremely high ceiling.
Yeah, and then coming up this week against Lincoln, Lincoln's been sort of improving, even though the record doesn't reflect it. Anything that you've seen so far on them that you guys might be focused on?
Oh, those guys play hard. I think that's the biggest thing that you might see about them, more than anything else. Those guys play extremely hard. At this point, you can't really, look at what records might say and things like that. They are showing a lot of improvement. They are showing that they're a well-coached ball club, and I think they play hard. So those are some of the things we got to make sure we definitely match and exceed kind of going forward without looking at, looking too far past any team, So, again, extremely formidable opponent, and we're looking forward to the challenge on Saturday.
All right. Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck to you.
Thanks. And the cookie fund went down. I don't think I got any this week. We had 1 penalty for 5 yards in that game, so that was probably our tops all season, probably tops the last 2 years. And I think it was the best for any team this year, in terms of penalties in the game. So, going, 1 penalty for 5 yards. We had an offsides penalty on defense, so that kind of messed us up from being all the way at 0. But I think, those guys are focusing on making sure we improve in that area as well.
Are there any other questions for Coach Parker? All right, thanks, Coach. We look forward to homecoming against Lincoln University at 1 o'clock on Saturday at Hubby Field.
Thank you.